Okay, so in this video we're going to learn how to solve systems of equations. Now, to solve a system of equation, you probably need to understand what a system of equation is. So here, I will show you one. Now, why is this a system of equation? Well, here's the first equation. Here's the second equation. A system of equations just mean any two equations, two or more equations, it could have been three equations, that just have a solution, or possibly no solution. Now, what it means to solve the system of equation means you need to find what x equals and what y equals. See, on a graph, let's say the first line looks like this, and the second line looks something like this. Where is the solution that we're finding? Where is this x and y that we're finding? Well, it's right here, right at that intersection point, if it ever intersects. This is the solution we're looking for. And whenever it says solve a system of equations, it means you're just looking for this point right here. So let's go ahead and get started by using what? The elimination method. Now, why would I want to use the elimination method in this case? Well, let's take a look. We have the equal signs lined up. We have the variables lined up. Honestly, this problem couldn't be any better problem to do elimination. All we have to do is multiply one of the top equations or bottom equations by whatever number we want, and we can cancel out one of the x variables or the y variables. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I would do, I would write the equations nice and visibly and determine how to cancel out one of the variables. What do I need to multiply one of the equations by to make it maybe 4x minus 4x, 5x minus 5x, 3x minus 3x, 6x minus 6x? Which equation should we multiply and by what? Now, the easiest way to see this is if you see numbers that are LCMs of each other. For example, beep, 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 beep. Ooh, I see this 3x and this 6x just, they want to be the ones that cancel each other out. So, what would I do? See, to make 3x minus 5y equals negative 7 cancel out with this bottom equation, which is the 6x, how do I make the 3x cancel out with 6x? I'm just going to multiply the top equation by negative 2. Now, I can't just multiply 3x by negative 2. Why? Because that means you're changing the equation. This is not balanced anymore. You see this equal sign? This equal sign means it's balanced. And if I just change 3x to negative 6x and I keep negative 7 as it is, I'm changing the balance. I'm making my own problem up. That's why it's not okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 3x by negative 2 on both sides. And let's see where that takes us. So what's negative 2 times 3x? It's negative 6x. Now, this is very important. I don't just multiply with 3x. I also multiply with this negative 5y right here. Very important. Distributive property. So we have negative 6x. And what's negative 2 times negative 5y? It's positive 10y. And what is negative 7 times negative 2? Positive 14. Now, from what I see, so you guys gotta understand, this is the new first equation. This first one right here, which I'm gonna circle in this in green, and this one right here, they're the exact same equations. All I did was just manipulate it, simplify it, whatever you want to say, but they're the same things. So, I can erase this if I want. Why? Because I still have this bottom equation right here. And that bottom equation, green, is still the same equation. So, now that the 6x and the negative 6x, all the equal signs are lined up, all the variables are lined up, what's 6x minus 6x? Hooray! It cancels! It's 0. What's positive 8y plus positive 10y? Well, it is 18y. And what's 22 plus 14? It's 36. So now we're left with this equation. All we gotta do is find what y is. To find y, I'm just gonna divide by 18 on both sides. And what do I get? I get y equals 2. Now, very important question. Does this mean we're done? No, we're not done. Why? Because solving it means you have to find the x comma y. You need to find what x equals and what y equals. But right now you just found what y equals. You got to find what x equals now. Now how are you going to do that? Well, you found y equals 2. Let's go ahead and look back at one of the original equations. We had, what, 3x minus 5y equals negative 7. 6x plus 8y equals 22. And we can just, when we remember we found y equals 2, let's just plug into one of them. I'll just plug it into this one, because this one looks like I have to work with smaller numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. We have, what? 3x minus 5. And what's y? Y equals 2. That's what we just found. Very important. We just found this. Substitution. Equals negative 7. So we have 3x minus 10 equals negative 7. And then we're going to have 3x. And you're going to add 10 on both sides to get rid of the 10. The x is the angry variable that wants to kick everyone out. So the 10 got kicked out to the other side, and we have 3x equals 3. We're going to divide by 3 on each side, and we end up with x equals 1. Hooray! You found it! So what's the answer you should write? Well, a teacher would probably like this answer with, if it was me, I would write this. This would be my answer. So, if you have time on the test, this next part is also very important. I would write down the equation exactly the way it's written on paper, and I would make sure I got the right answer. How do I do that? How do I double check my answer? How do I know I did this right? Well, I'm just going to plug in 1, plug in 2 into both of them. So what's 3 times 1 minus 5 times 2? Does it equal negative 7? 3 minus 10 equals negative 7. 3 minus 10 is negative 7. It does equal negative 7. Yes, this works. Now, let's look at the bottom one. We have 6x plus 8y equals 22. Does 6 times 1 plus 8 times 2, does that equal 22? Let's see, we have 6 times 1 is 6, plus 8 times 2 is 16. Does this equal 22? Does 16 plus 6 equal 22? Why, yes, it does. This is how you double check that you got the right answer. So, this is indeed the right answer, and you just solved the system of equations by using the elimination method. Remember, the basics of elimination means you have to find after you find the two equations, you have to find a number that you need to multiply one of the equations by in order to cancel out one of the variables. That's why it's called elimination, because you're canceling out one of the variables. In this case, we multiplied the top one by negative 2, and so we made the 3x negative 6x, so we had negative 6x cancel out with 6x. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your elimination method. Hooray!